Coming on the show this week is movies with repeated guest Barry McAleenan. We're delighted to have him. This week we talk about his podcast, which is on promoting, which is brilliant. It's a movie-based podcast called Ugly Pulp Odyssey. Go and check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. And this week in our own podcast, it's movies as well. We're talking about Space Odyssey 2001, V for Vendetta, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Carbon Copy, the movie, A Junkie Buddy Holly, First Ever Gigs, Directors, Holiday Monday, Hunger Games, The Cube, Jacob Collier, Oscars vs Grammys, Charlie Chaplin, Sequel vs Prequel, Captain Tom Hanks, Jeff Goldblum, Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park, Munich, Marilyn Monroe, and The Simpsons. And we got a wee musical surprise at the end for you, so stick around. Let's go!
Jesus. Menda was saying there was a paper thin.
Welcome to episode 18 of the COVID Curer podcast, which will contain some bad language. We're on Spotify and Apple, Anchor and YouTube, and some other platforms, I believe. We're a wedding band from Scotland on lockdown, doing this podcast amongst other things. My name's Martin, I play guitar in the band. I'm joined by our lead singer David Swan.
Hello there.
Our bass player Mark Caulfield.
Hi there.
Our drummer Neil McDougall.
Hello.
We're fortunate enough to have a very special guest joining us tonight. A friend of the podcast, friend of the band, host of Ugly Pulp Odyssey podcast, our first ever second appearing guest, Mr. Barry McAleenan. Welcome, Barry.
Good evening.
For the second time.
Welcome back.
Good evening.
Aye. See if this was Soccer AM, you would get the ball.
Aye, the crowd leapt to its foot. Ooh.
Barry, I think you used that joke the last time you were on.
No, the one I used the last time was, and the crowd went mild.
Oh, so you did, that's right. Just checking.
Oh, that was good.
But what makes it even crapper is the fact that you've basically just called me out for my crap jokes, so nobody doing that again.
So how does it feel to be the first person to be on this podcast for the second time?
To be perfectly honest, it feels euphoric. No, honestly, I'm genuinely happy to be here.
How's the podcast coming along, mate?
Aye, okay. My first sort of venture into the world of actually doing a podcast rather than just being on other people's things. So it was good fun. At this point, the editing is doing my nutting. I'm sure Spanko, you can tell me all about it, but it's
time
I hate the editing. I hate the editing, Barry.
What's that?
I hate the editing. Me and Swanee basically spend like 6 hours.
Days.
6 hours a day for about a week after. Spanko takes the credit, but it's actually me and Swanee.
Very stressful, but I do it all for the love of Spanko. Even though he's sitting in the house with his fucking velvet smoking jacket on, doing hee-haw. Quite fine. But I enjoyed it. I listened to a wee bit. I never listened to all the first one. I actually started the second one when I was out a walk tonight as well. But I like it because it's about movies, isn't it? It's based on movies.
It's a film-based thing, but obviously, we're certainly not bona fide film buffs or critics. We basically just, realised that was the main topic of conversation between the three years, and we just thought, well, maybe a lowbrow sort of film thing would be something that people would want to hear rather than the usual kind of boffins talking about it. So, so I'm just going to see how it goes. No real expectations, and it's the most 2020 thing ever into doing a podcast. So we just thought we'd join the party.
So it's fucking left, isn't it? Really? So that's left.
It's just basically another form of socialisation, isn't it?
That's it, mate. And we can combine our listeners together, and we'll have a grand total of 15 or something like that. So
might break double figures, right? What about you guys? Have you been other than this? Has there been much happening?
No, I was just going to say I listened to the episode. I thought it was great, Barry. I thought.
Oh, nice one. Thank you.
It sounded really good. As you say, it is good to hear. You know, some local guys talking about some interesting stuff. So I've only listened to the first episode, but I'll definitely be checking out the second. I've just not had a chance, but
I much prefer it.
One thing's for sure is that the sort of production quality is not going to be changing anytime soon, because we got into a rhythm of we'd done a couple in person, and then obviously this sort of other kind of lockdown hit, and then we're back to doing it on Zoom or whatever, which, you know, have you done it always this way right from the start? Is that what it was?
Aye.
So I'll definitely need to pick your brains some more, Spango, but I appreciate the tips you gave me already, but I feel as if there'll still be workflow things that could sort of be made easier.
I'll cut this out, but the files are mental on that if you're using the things that Zoom record.
People want to hear this shit, man. People want to do a podcast.
M4A, what the fuck's an M4A?
I looked this up the other day because I was actually playing hymns in a chapel. An M4A file is just really Apple's equivalent of the MP3 in a short.
I thought you were going to say it was the most pious of all files.
It's a fucking pain in the arse.
It is. Only
compatible in chapels.
They compress it down more than MP3, but it keeps up like the quality. You know, the M4As. That's what I googled anyway. But
that's not even. See, to be honest with you, like the file type isn't really an issue. I think it's more just I realised just before I started recording the Zoom meeting that you could use separate files for each person.
Yeah.
The only reason I say this is because one of the guys had some sound issues. He'd put his mic too close to his laptop and the fan was blaring through it or something like that. So I had to use the original audio of the Zoom meeting, which was better, but it just means I have to go through and like trim all his bits out of it. So it's going to take me about 10 years to edit this one podcast, but
and obviously we'll put a link to the podcast as well in our comments.
That'd be great, thank you.
And it's called the Ugly Pulp Odyssey, and is it going to be a solely movie based thing then, Barry? What's the thing? I think so. The first episode you guys were, I think, describing your favourite films of all time kind of thing.
We had the idea to start with, just to make it, you know, a film based podcast where we would pick sort of one film every episode and talk about it, but as we were coming up with the ideas for names for the podcast, Martin had come up with the idea of favourite films and using obviously names from that, so The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, Pulp Fiction and 2001 A Space Odyssey, which seemed like, I don't know, it was just kind of catchy. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever, but so the first episode makes sense. We would just talk about the three of them. But I think the idea for now is we're going to do one film every episode and just throw in some other shit while we're at it, because invariably we get kind of half cut throughout it, and it just gets worse as the thing goes on. So, so that's basically it.
It sounds great, and it's I've never. Your favourite film in it, am I right in saying, is Space?
That's 2001, right, 2001
Space Odyssey. I've never seen that film, and it's a film that I've always really wanted to see. And when you're describing it, I'm thinking, I don't know why I've never seen this film, because it does sound great, you know.
Oh, I mean,
it's one that
don't even get me started on. I'll be here all night. But no, I think it's, even if you're not into that sort of thing, if you're not, I would say it's a film maybe worth watching, even if you're not into sci-fi, just because it's just one of those films, I suppose, is a must see. And it continually makes the sort of, you know, top 5, top 10 greatest films of all time. And it's maybe just one of those ones that slips through for people in the sort of layman maybe hasn't seen it. But definitely worth it. And if you can, go and see it in a big screen, or at least on a really good, you know, telly with a good sound system. The GFT show it every so often. It's one of those things that just deserves to be seen on the big screen.
There's a few movies.
Anybody else seen it?
I've actually no, mate. I've actually started it the other week, and
you didn't finish it?
I didn't finish it. I'm up to.
Loads of people do that.
Aye, it's heavy duty, definitely.
But
what's it on? It's not Netflix, is it? Because I had a quick look. That's my go-to.
Nah, it's on Now TV.
It's all. I love sci-fi films, but it's there's a million films that I've never seen. I
think if you are a sci-fi buff, it's one of those ones that you'll probably be quite pleasantly surprised when you watch it about how much it's influenced other sci-fi films that you like.
Aye.
You'll just notice dozens of things in it that are just constantly referenced and sort of parodied and paid homage to in other films.
Yeah, it's
Started
definitely
them all,
one
really,
to
didn't it?
check out for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're not into the whole thing in general, it's a film that people fall asleep watching. I'm quite happy to say that. But if you're up for the ride, then cool. But if not, people are known to lose consciousness while watching it.
Why is that? Is it quite draggy?
Well, I'll tell you one of the main reasons is that there's only 17 minutes of dialogue in the entire film.
Is that right?
And it's
17 minutes? And how long's the
17 or
movie?
20, I think. And it's about 3 hours long.
Is that right at the start, or is the dialogue spread out through?
For 17 minutes?
No, it's mainly in the sort of second and third acts of the film, but it's because it's more visual. It's more the way that I don't know if it was Kubrick himself, but it's certainly been described this way. Is it's more like a sort of symphony, a story told in in sort of musical and visual terms, as well as with dialogue. So I think it's just one of those ones that people. I personally just think that people in general throughout the ages of cinema have got used to just being bombarded by dialogue, and there seems to be this need now, especially in modern TV and cinema, to have like snappy, quick dialogue, and it always kind of grates me when people try to make a film overly verbose, or even just TV when you're watching some drama and TV and you feel as if these people are talking too much. It's like, that's not how things actually play out.
My big bugbear is exposition.
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
It drives me fucking nuts. It's just.
But again, that's a thing that everybody's used to now, isn't it?
Aye. As soon as anyone starts explaining the plot, rather than showing you, it's show don't tell is the big rule, isn't it?
Well, that's definitely it. And again, so this definitely has very little of that, and in fact zero, none. In fact, it gets around it in very smart kind of ways that I think good films do in general, which is that rather than having one of the protagonists explain something to you or have a voiceover or something, it's built into the plot of the film, the narrative. So you learn about one of the famous characters in it, Hal the computer. You learn about him in a sort of sequence where the astronauts have been trained. So it's kind of built into it rather than having to have all the action stop and then have the characters explain to you what's the backstory or whatever. I'm the same. I hate that.
Definitely need to check it out.
Absolutely. Cannot sing its praises highly enough.
No, that's the thing that's coming through when you were discussing it. Just obviously you could see you're off for the film, and it was coming through, and it was just making me think about watching it right now. But
I'm sure as we go on to discuss this, like, you guys all have this exact same experience of something that's kind of has a special place because you maybe remember the first time you saw it, or a film that's had more impact on you than others just because of the time and place that you were exposed to it.
V for Vendetta, that's for me.
Aye.
That one.
Amazing. Aye.
That one gets me. Aye, definitely.
That's one we'll need to do on the podcast. Actually, it's an amazing film. And
it's really cool, man. I love that movie. I don't know why. It shouldn't really be one of my movies, but it's one of my all-time favourites. It's not really... I don't really like Sim City or anything, and it's shot like that a bit. It's got that cartoony
graphic
effect.
novel, aye. Yep.
Aye, but it's phenomenal. I think it's the I'm going to blow up Parliament part of it I like.
I think that's the bit, aye, that's the one.
I like that, aye, definitely. And he's kind of a fighting for the wee guy as well, isn't he? So
definitely, aye.
Aye, nice one.
But it's very well done in that. It's not
aye.
I think that's what, because I was kind of expecting when I first seen that, I was maybe expecting it to be a wee bit cheap and a wee bit on the sort of because stuff like that, Revolution and all this, it can be a wee bit tedious if it's not taken seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas I think they did that really well, and it did especially towards the end. It's sort of the crescendo. It really hits you.
Phenomenal, absolutely. It's getting me going now thinking about the end of it.
Aye, no, it's brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant.
It's amazing. Have you all seen that?
I've never
not for
seen that
years,
either.
mate.
Oh, it's great. It's even one of the ones, Spanko, you can go back to as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can, if you've seen it a year ago, you can actually watch it again. I've watched it hundreds of times. I love it.
Got to love having a film like that no matter how many times you've seen it, you can just watch it again. You're just happy to watch it again.
Well, I can watch. You're a big lover of this as well, Barry. But I can sit. I've got the IPTV where I sit with the 24/7 channel of Sunny on like all day, every day, nearly. You know.
Sorry, what was that you said there?
Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, you can just have that on 24/7 and watch every.
We do that too.
Do you know what I mean? So there's things that I could watch and never ever go near it again. But there's other things that I could watch relentlessly. Which
Definitely.
is strange, isn't it? It's a strange thing.
It is very strange. It's like it's almost like you become addicted to it and you just need your fix.
See, when I used to come home for a gig, that would be the first thing I would do after my fruit and fibre. I would stick on a wee bit of Sunny in Philadelphia. Honestly,
The image of you sitting with your slippers on, eating your fruit and fibre, watching Always Sunny is just hilarious.
Genuinely, that's what I've done every single night I came home. I really miss that.
It's comfort.
I know.
Just
The wee
comfort.
rituals, in it.
Aye, it's comfort, Spanks. You're right. It's definitely it's a dopey. What's it? What they called?
Dopamine. Aye.
Dopamine. Yeah, definitely. It's my like on Facebook when I stick Sunny on. I love it, and I'm one of the guys though. See, when I'm telling folk about it, you know, you're like, it's fucking so good that they go away thinking I'm never going to watch that. He's talking shit. Can't be that good, you know.
Aye, that's the story of my life. Me like sort of trying to explain how good something is to somebody, and then knowing full well that if I was in their position, having someone talk to me so enthusiastically, I'd probably just be like, "Aye, cool, mate, no worries." Just never watch that thing ever.
It's just so good though, man. I love it.
I take it everybody's seen that, surely.
I don't think the boys. Well, Spanko, you've seen it, haven't you?
What, Always Sunny? Aye, in and
Aye.
out. I'm in and out. I've seen the last episode and I've seen the first series, maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 and 6. But I can't. There's like a million seasons, isn't there? So,
12, 13. I think.
12. Aye.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've not
14
seen it
now,
all.
actually.
I've not seen it all, but it's good, man.
The pilot show is the best one for me. I think that's the best one ever.
That's
the
good.
pilot. Have you seen it, Neil?
I've only seen like bits when Box did their whole like Philadelphia marathon
Aye.
thing. I've not
I
watched
love
any.
I went to. Did I tell you about this one? Me and a couple of mates went to an Always Sunny quiz in Box,
Aye, that's what.
and it was the hardest thing ever.
Was it hard?
Like, I think we got about 2 questions right because it was, I don't know, the kind of people who are retaining this information, I just think they must have been lying waiting for this to happen.
Aye.
Because it wasn't even just like a quiz about the show. It was a quiz about things that were happening in the background
Aye.
during the show,
Aye.
which to me is just, you can tell I was in a sour mood after that, What colour was fucking Frank's trousers on this episode? Fuck off.
Fucking hell.
That's far too far.
Well, they don't want to give the prize away. That's what it is. It used to be different.
Aye, 50 quid.
Aye.
Oh, I know.
I mean, the questions you need to answer to get like a 50 quid bar tab.
Yeah.
Aye.
Insane. So, since you're on, Barry, and since you're doing this great new movie podcast,
Yep.
we thought we'd do a movie-based theme for
Crossover.
this week. So, I've got a couple of questions. I'll just imagine that Spanko's put in the music, the like film 2020 music. So,
Alright.
probably
Oh, yeah.
in the final one, but let's just imagine it's in there now. So, we'll ask you a question, then we'll ask the rest of it. So, this is a really highbrow, very important question in the world of film, Barry, and it is, who would play each of us in carbon copy of the movie?
If I had to answer this as in
Fucking hell.
give each of you guys a... Oh my god.
Aye.
Oof, we could be here.
All right.
Answer it any way you like. Any way you like it, though.
God, you know what I'm like? I'll probably end up taking ages. So you'll need to cut out all the thinking. I don't know. I think let me reverse that back on you. Then I would say, who do each of you guys think would play yous?
I know who would play Spanko.
Davey's like Ron Jeremy for me.
No, but I definitely know who would play Spanko. There's a few people that would
I'll
play
give you
Spanko.
4. I'll give you 4.
Right.
I think Neil, Jason Momoa for Neil.
Don't know who that is.
That's a shout, aye.
That's a compliment to the big
I'll
man.
take it.
Aye, Jason Momoa for Neil. Jason Statham for Swanee.
I've got hair now, you prick.
Aye, with a wig on or something. Give him some hair.
Jason
I've been
Statham.
told that would definitely be Tobey Maguire, and I've been told that a lot of times.
That's a good one, eh?
Nah, I've got a better one for you.
Some sort of asexual flampot.
Albino.
Flampot?
What's a flampot?
I don't know, I just made it up. For Merv, I'll need to come back to you for Merv.
Have you no found his yet?
Do you know,
No, I'm just thinking of these on the spot.
I feel with it.
Have you?
See, just while we're at it, right? There's a guy that I follow on Instagram. This guy does all this looping stuff. I don't know if you guys are aware of him. He's called Mark
Ribble. Aye, yeah. Mentioned him before on this.
He's the fucking spitting image of you, Spanko.
Aye. He's in shape
Is
though.
he?
He's in shape.
Has nobody actually said that yet? You're the absolute spits of him.
I actually thought that, but nobody said it to me.
Oh my god, aye, that's a humdinger.
Sue Perkins.
I don't. That's not
The
fair
Hollywood
because
superstar Sue Perkins.
I don't think that's fair, Swanee, because technically she's not an actress. So.
That's true. That's very true. Sandy Toksvik.
Have you just got a list of famous lesbians?
No, I'm going through other people. I think it's Marie Murphy in the tavern. Who is it? She says you look like David Tennant.
Aye. But Mark Ribble is a good shout.
And starring as Mark Caulfield, Katie Lang.
Katie Lang, that's another one. But they all do quite similar, definitely.
I
They
can't
look like
think of an actor for you, Merv, actually. Dang.
An actor for Merv.
Well,
Aye.
Don't know any actors, man.
I think you could do maybe a Keanu Reeves, man, Merv.
Aye.
That's a good
Keanu,
shout, man. That's a good shout, actually.
Aye.
There you go.
Got the mysterious look about you, man. You could definitely kill someone with a chopstick in it.
So
because it would
Just
be
needs
like
a biro.
because it would be like a wooden actor. Is that what it is? Which is probably true. It definitely would be. Definitely would be. I actually gave us a wee bit. I gave us a wee bit of thought, but as you can probably tell already, because I've not seen any films,
Well, you've beat us
be
already then.
they're going to be like quite well-known people. So, Neil, I was thinking Brian Blessed.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Hello. Okay, a young Brian Blessed, Spanks. I was between two for Spanko. One was Tom Hanks, because I know how much you love him.
right.
And,
Captain Tom Hanks.
Then I seen Ghostbusters the other day, and I was thinking the guy Rick Moranis, maybe.
I'll take Rick Moranis. That's fine.
Definitely, man.
Well, do you know, I don't know if you've seen this, Merv, or if MD's ever mentioned this before, but apparently I'm constantly likened to Harold Ramis.
Oh, is that Egon?
Egon, aye.
He's deed. He's no
Which,
deed.
you know, when I've got the lockdown cut in it, but when I've got the hair, you know, the big
Aye.
nose and the specs.
I can see that, mate.
Aye,
Definitely.
definitely. Aye. Swanee, I don't know why, this is just the first thing in my head. Anthony Hopkins. Swanee.
Fucking
Um,
Hannibal.
With a nice Chianti.
I was between a few for myself, but I ended up just going for Steve Martin. I think he would play a good version of me. But Barry, I thought of you because you obviously are a second, or our first ever second
A
and
returning guest, aye.
and also you help us out playing a lot of times, so you're part of the band. So Christian Bale, I thought
Christian Bale, I'll
would
take
do
that.
a good Barry.
Merv, you're definitely Liam Neeson. The more I think about it, Liam
Who's
Neeson for
that,
Merv,
me?
for me. Aye.
Neeson.
Aye, Liam
What,
Neeson.
a racist Irishman?
Aye. Hey, you're so fucking lucky, man. I'm two bald cunts.
No, Swanee. What about Ed Harris? That'd be something like
Who's
that.
that?
That's alright, aye.
He's
Who's
also
Ed
balding though as well, so that's like,
Aye, what, everybody seems to be going for bald guys with Swanee, aye.
Fucking ram it, you pricks. Paid a fortune for this Barnett. But I don't know about Neil. I don't know who I'd pick for Neil.
Gotta be Jason Momoa, man. Definitely.
Don't even know who that is.
The big wild man, aye.
Aye, the big wild man.
did Aquaman, and he was in Game of
Aquaman,
Thrones
yeah.
as well.
I think Neil's got a kind of a Jack Black feel about him.
There you go, that's another good, you know.
I'd take that for sure, man.
Aye, I think you've got that kind of vibe about you, mate.
I think
I'll
he's
go
got the
with
best job ever. He gets to be a musician of whatever he wants to be. He gets to do that in movies, and he gets to be an actor, and he gets to be like kind of chubby and do whatever he wants to be. It's amazing. I'd do that.
I wasn't calling you chubby there, but even though you all called me bald, I wasn't coming back there and calling you chubby.
I'm not gonna lie, man, this lockdown is not doing anything for my figure.
I never even realised that about Anthony Hopkins. That's not how I went for him. It's just the first person I thought of. Because that's the thing, I only know some big name actors, so I had to pick for like...
Anthony Hopkins is a fucking badass, isn't he?
Aye.
He's so good. He's one of those guys that can save a film.
Here's one for you then. Choose your own actor. So, Spanko, who would you have play you?
Who would I like to have play me?
Aye.
I need to think about that. I'll think
you,
about
Barry.
it.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey?
That's
a shout.
Jim Carrey's great.
When I was at school, all my mates used to call me Jim Carrey because it's, I was rubber. Not in that way, but I had a rubber face and was constantly contorting myself into the most stupid shapes possible with the class clown that I was. So
I can see that, definitely. I can see that, honestly.
Also, I think it's the insect-like features.
Insect-like.
I would like Matt Berry to play me.
Who's Matt Berry?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, he's quality.
Who's Matt Berry?
The English comedy actor. He does
the famous voiceover actor.
Voiceover guy.
Oh, him that's in. Oh God, he's in the Mighty Bush. Isn't he?
Nah,
is that right?
No,
no, is he? No, he's not.
He's not one of the main guys from the Mighty Bush. If he's in it at all,
I seen the Mighty Bush live, and he was in the show.
Was he?
Yeah, definitely, man. Is he in the IT crowd and that as well?
Aye. He's the boss in the IT crowd.
Yeah. Aye, same dude. So that's who you would go. He's
Matt
quite
Berry.
chubby for you, Spanks.
Because it's just funny. I wouldn't want a serious portrayal.
No,
No.
don't want somebody to play.
But he speaks well, so and he never mumbles, so that
that's
wouldn't
not
be
you,
very
then.
good. Exactly.
To be fair, Spanko, your serious portrayal's got to be Hugh Jackman, though. Of anything.
Thanks, mate. Thanks
I mean,
very much.
come on, let's be serious.
How,
I knew,
what?
I knew I was
What?
joining a band when I was joining a band with Hugh Jackman. That's exactly what I said to my wife. I was like, I'm joining a band with Hugh Jackman.
That's I can see it. I can definitely see it.
Does it like Hugh Jackman's AIDSy little brother or something like that?
I was going to say, unless he's got knives sticking out his fucking hand, there's nothing about Hugh Jackman.
Oh, here,
about
listen.
him.
Don't feel bad about that because I get probably the worst one of all time at a gig one night, right? See, just one of those things where somebody says something to you that, as much as it's a joke on the surface, it actually really hurts your feelings. Was at his gig, and this guy is absolutely rubbered. It was one of the Ned gigs at a
Are we
charity.
allowed to laugh at this, Barry?
I'll be laughing.
Aye, of course, aye. It was one of the right rough. It was a charity gig on the East End or something like that, and a fucking, like a, I don't know, social club or something like that.
Aye.
And this guy comes up to me and starts giving me all the whole, you think you can play the guitar, you haven't played any Biffy Clyro, mate, and all that. And he was one of these guys that had a face tattoo or something like that, do you know what I mean?
Aye, a tear.
So, and then he hits it with telling all his mates that I look like junkie Buddy Holly. Which I must admit I laughed at for about 5 seconds, then fucking started greeting.
Just like junkie Buddy Holly.
I mean, it's fucking quality when you think about it, but I was like, no, that's fucking out of line, you dick.
Well, I've got one better than that, mate. I always get fucking mistaken for John Higgins. I always get mistaken for him.
That's John Higgins minus fucking 8 stone.
Aye, well, there is that part of it, but when he was a wee, maybe, a wee bit younger and a wee bit thinner, I can
definitely see the resemblance, aye.
He was only 2 years above me at the same school too. I can remember watching.
Is there a similarity on the snooker table, Swanee?
I'm not bad, but I'm not a 147. You know what I mean? I think my highest
You're near a
breaks
1,
are
a 4, then a
28.
7.
Do you know what I mean? Aye. But I spent my misspent youth in the same place that he did, the Masters down in Wishy, mate. So
Aye.
But
I spent my misspent adulthood there.
There and all. But I used to, a guy stopped me at a gig somewhere. I think I was going to a gig and it was like in the Hydro or some big venue. I can't remember what it was. A guy came out, John, running right up to me and all that. And I'm like, it's not me, mate. It's not me. That's happened a couple of times.
I think I'd quite like to be. That must be quite a good feeling, getting stopped, somebody thinking that you're somebody else.
It's weird how to deal with it though, because they're really. You can see the closer they run to you, the realisation setting in their face, and then.
But they just go through it because they know they're going to look like a dick otherwise.
Aye, and when I tell them, I break the news to them. You know, they're kind of a wee bit embarrassed and stuff, and then it's a bit awkward. It's weird.
Maybe you could get a job on the side as being like a lookalike. See what the David Beckham lookalikes and stuff, and they go to parties, and you could be like
John Higgins. I don't know if there's much call for that, Murph.
I don't know if there's and stuff. And
someone get me a John Higgins lookalike now.
I know.
It's a booming business, that, innit? We'll get wee Johnny's. We'll get that for his 15th, right?
John Higgins, they stood in the corner chopping his cue at Johnny's 15th birthday party.
This is just what your granny's going to want for her 80th.
Aye, but do you know what? In all seriousness, 50 quid, people, talk to me.
Well, there you go.
Talk to me. I'm available for hire.
Definitely.
They're those message things here. By the way, you could do that now. Those video message things that other celebs are doing now. You could actually just do that.
Dress
pretend
up
you're
my tux.
Higgins and put like a filter on it or something like that, and nobody will know any different.
I could, couldn't I? I could. Aye, definitely.
The worst one I ever had when I was about 18 in Leeds. It was two baldy fucking English pricks were like that to me. You look like an ugly Gareth Gates. I was so rude, man.
Don't do that mid-vape, man. I nearly choked to death again.
No, but the beautiful thing about that is, do you know how guys often reveal like just the strangest things when they give somebody an insult like that? Because that kind of means that those two guys think that he's quite pleasant. He's got, he's oh, what a lovely boy Gareth Gates is. He's so good looking. So we'll call somebody an ugly Gareth Gates.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I can see
It's
that,
creepy,
though.
really, when you think about it, innit?
A wee bit. Aye, for their end. But you used to have that like kind of cornrow hairdo, Spanks.
I've never had fucking hair like that in my fucking puff. Fuck
There'll be
off.
individual spikes.
Fuck right off.
Right, so who is the greatest director of all time?
Oh, Jesus.
Of
Quite a
all
tough one.
time.
Probably, I'm gonna three top names for me. It's probably Tarantino for me, really. But then I really love Chris Nolan, and I
Chris
really
Nolan
love
for me,
Wes Anderson as well. So they're probably my top three. I think in terms of films I just flat out enjoy.
Yep.
Greatest director of all time was Bend Over.
Fucking hell. I knew it was coming. Fucking knew it was coming.
Imagine calling yourself that. That's a great name, but innit? I remember hearing that when I was like 16, 17 and absolutely pissing myself laughing. Who directed that? Bend Over. But my favourite director is I'm going to go Tarantino as well, I'm afraid. I'm going to be in that.
He's a popular guy.
He is, mate. He's brilliant, but
Household name
phenomenal.
in that.
I would agree, Tarantino. But the other one I was thinking was, I do like Scorsese.
Aye.
I don't like all his stuff.
Scorsese's also very popular. Aye. I love Scorsese
But
too.
that's the thing. It's maybe the obvious ones. But I just love that film, The Last Waltz by the band. By
that's
Scorsese,
phenomenal, man.
Even
All
just
of that
for
kind of stuff
I
that
would
he's done.
probably
Did he not
pick
do that one with the Stones as well?
Aye, that's good as well. Seen
That's
that one
amazing,
as well, aye. I'd like to see him coming out with a few more of them. But aye. But I would probably, if you were pushing, I would go with Scorsese because of the.
What's your
because of
favourite
The Last
Scorsese
Waltz.
film, Merv?
Goodfellas. Is that Scorsese? Aye.
It's hard to beat, innit?
It's just a film that's. I don't usually watch films again and again, but that's one that I've watched a few times and
That's
it is
fucking
easy to
brilliant.
watch. and-
Aye.
that's who
Yeah,
Spanko
it
is. Pesky.
Joe Pesci.
That's who you are. That's who you
Definitely
are.
is angry, son.
He gets angry like him. You know what I mean? He gets to that wee kettle boiling
I'm
point.
funny how? I'm fucking funny how? What do you mean I'm funny?
Mumbling, haha, mumbling.
Oh man.
David Fincher as well is up there, I would say. Possibly.
Quality. Yep.
What about you, Neil?
I think I'm with Chris Nolan, but
Yeah.
I like the is it J.J. Abrams?
J.J.
J.J. Abrams, aye, he's
Abrams?
good, aye.
I think everything he kind of touches is a bit different. I quite like that.
What about you, Barry?
My favourite director is Stanley Kubrick. You know, obviously, I love all his films, but I would say that he's a filmmaker's filmmaker. If you ask most directors who's the greatest director of all time, they'll say Stanley Kubrick. And there's the reasons for that are the kind of things that I like in films. It's the meticulousness. It's the fact that there's no stone left unturned. Everything's completely accurate. You can't pick holes in anything that he does. So he's a total perfectionist, which doesn't necessarily mean he's got produce great films. It's just that there's something about that, the depth to everything that he does. It's funny you should, was it Spankos, you said Wes Anderson?
Yeah, I love Wes Anderson. You just know when it's
Wes
one of his
Anderson
films,
is such a Kubrickian filmmaker, it's unbelievable. A lot of his sort of visuals are very heavily influenced by Kubrick's approach. The way that he leaves a lot of Easter eggs in the background, shots that are made to draw your attention to something that's not to do with certain characters, and all these wee hidden threads in films. It's he's very influenced by Kubrick in that sense. And again, I love filmmakers that do that. I love filmmakers that show their influences. They're not afraid to be a bit like someone else or whatever, because I think that's often where you find the most original stuff happens, ironically. When people actually just show their interpretation of something or show their influence of something, and then it ends up being theirs anyway, they can't help it.
Yeah, definitely. He's got some weird movies as well, Kubrick, though, hasn't he?
Oh, God, aye.
Clockwork Orange and all that, that's fucking mental, that movie, man.
Clockwork Orange, Eyes Wide Shut.
The Shining as well.
The Shining's just...
phenomenal.
It's just to me, it's just the greatest horror movie ever made.
It's phenomenal. Did he do Full Metal Jacket as well?
He did, yeah.
Have you got
I've got it
IMDb
up,
open
yeah.
in front of you, Swanee?
Aye, I'm just going through them now, mate. Aye.
So have I.
Full Metal Jacket, fucking hell, I didn't realise that. That's a movie, man.
I remember watching that when I was a kid, and I watched it I remember it fucking freaked me out, because it's, highly violent and shit, and I was really fucking young, too young to be watching it, but I used to just watch it over and over again, because it was like, it was kind of, I don't know.
A movie and a half, that, man.
Have you ever seen anything to do with the R. Lee Ermey, the guy who's the drill sergeant in that film? So now the guy that's got the famous lines is the big shouting drill sergeant, like, what is your major malfunction, private pal, you maggot, and all that, right? He was a real life drill sergeant.
Oh, was he?
In the army.
I heard this other day, actually. It might have been on your podcast, actually, was it? Were you talking about this?
No, I don't think so. But he obviously did that as part of his job. So, but he was only there when they were filming that movie to consult. Basically, he was there on a consultation basis to help the people look more like soldiers. He showed them how to handle the guns and do all the drills and everything. And it was originally supposed to be, I can't remember the actor's name now. It was supposed to be some other guy who was basically shooting. I think he might even have started filming it at this point. And Ermey was there to show the guys basically how to look like soldiers, and he ended up being so ingrained in it that Kubrick just decided at some point, that this is the guy for the job.
What's Barry London?
It's a period drama set in Ireland. It's really good.
I watched that.
Need to check
fantastic,
that out.
Man.
1975. I've not seen that.
There's literally not a Kubrick film that is not worth watching. Seriously.
Never seen
the
Dr.
guy just only makes gold. Only makes solid gold.
Dr. Strangelove. I've never actually seen it either, but I know it's like highly regarded as the top comedy
That's
film of all
another thing.
time.
See, as we're talking about this, I'm always amazed when people bring up the films that he makes, because I can't think of another filmmaker who's been so boldly who has so boldly made the decision to make different films every time.
Aye, that's what I'm quite enamoured at here.
He's got comedies. Strangelove is one of the most iconic comedies of all time.
That's right. Yeah.
You've got these expansive, heavy, deep films about the meaning of life. 2001. He's got horrors. He's got thrillers. He's got everything in between. The whole lot period stuff. Conceptual films. Spartacus stuff about Roman times and all that kind of stuff. It's just, there's nothing he hasn't done, and he never repeats himself ever.
It's mental as well how long he's been on the go as well. If you look at it,
is he still on the go?
No, he's dead. But I mean, the length of his film career, from 1953, 50s, I can see here, right up to the last one was
2001. It would have been Eyes Wide Shut.
1999. That was, mate.
Oh, 99. Sorry,
99.
Think of the changes in the technology changes from that period. If you're a filmmaker or anything,
most of which in film, not most of which, but a lot of which were brought about by him himself.
Just being an innovator and bringing in.
He was a technical innovator. So some of the early films that he did were the first to employ dolly shots and stuff where you had like a static camera I think they call it a reverse zoom, the thing where the camera's moving away, but the zoom goes in, and it creates this sort of vortex
The
type
famous
feeling.
one that's in Jaws. Aye.
Kubrick did
The
that
contragen.
very early on.
Aye.
There was loads of stuff like that. Even I would say look no further than 2001: A Space Odyssey to actually get an idea what this guy was capable of achieving with practical effects. No CGI, nothing in the 60s, and it's still, in my opinion, the greatest looking film that's ever been made. It's mind-boggling. It really
I
is.
need to check that out, man.
I mean, a lot of the stuff the real shame, I think, is that he dismantled all the sets and stuff like that he built. He dismantled most of them. These are things that you're talking about, stuff that cost in the 60s cost $200,000 to make, which is, I don't know what the equivalent of that is now. That must be at least $5 million. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Were you not saying in the podcast that they were back in the day? They were saying that he was the guy that done the fake the moon landing and stuff. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere.
Aye, well,
obviously,
that's a
if you
huge
believe that's the
conspiracy.
case, but that's a conspiracy. But I suppose if you're spending that kind of money back in the days, that's maybe almost comparable to what they were spending in the.
Well, I think one of the things that lends weight to the Kubrick thing is obviously when you see 2001 and all that was done with practical effects. I think one of the things that's constantly used as being like that he could have done it is that it's not actually any of the space shots, because they're obviously all practical effects. They're sets that are built or they're models or whatever. It's actually the opening bit of the film, which is basically set in the times of prehistoric man, when we're sort of cavemen, for lack of a better term, or hominids or whatever, early man, where they're out in the deserts or the Sahara in Africa. People thought that was shot on location, like they were actually there, but it later came out that it was all done using basically, I don't know what the term is for projection, where you basically shoot on a set and then project the background onto it. So a lot of these people basically then went, oh wait a minute, and if he made that look as convincing with that, then maybe he did do it. Because there's the argument that obviously the moon landing, it wouldn't be hard to fake. It's like, it's only black and some grey dust. Do you know what I mean? But
shite quality.
Aye. But it was how convincing he made that scene that I think had made a lot of people think.
That projection stuff, they've started doing that again. They're getting away from CGI. They're doing a
Good.
CGI projection. The Mandalorian.
Good.
That's how they filmed that. It wasn't on green screen. It was on
Fantastic.
A proper 16K fucking massive projection behind them and kind of around them. If you watch the making of that, it's cool as fuck. So they're going. That's where they're heading towards now, getting away from.
I'm
green
really
screen.
glad to hear that, because that was probably a huge factor in why I've not really been that involved with even pre-COVID going to the cinema, or it just seemed to be dominated by films which were CGI to the hilt, and everything that you saw on screen was CGI. And the minute you know that it's CGI, you know that it isn't real, so you detach from it. Therefore, what chance have you really got about for really getting involved in the film?
Immersive. Aye.
See, a film I've seen, and it's not a good film or that, but I think is worth a mention just for the CGI. The new Lion King film. I went to see that at the cinema, and it's definitely. I mean,
did you go yourself now to see that?
I was there on the first night. I went twice in a row. But it's quite something visually. It's almost making CGI look real in a sense. Yeah, there are definitely moments in it, and you're like, that's pretty good when you compare it to previous stuff. But I totally agree with what you're saying. It's totally like saturated the whole.
It has to go back. It has to be real at some point.
Avatar done all that to it, didn't it? Really, Avatar was the big one that came out with all the massive budget on that and changed it a wee bit. And I agree. I feel as if everything kind of has a bit of an animated feel about it now.
It does.
It's that no real, like you say, get back to the real stuff. Definitely.
Well, another guy who you could mention in terms of an innovation in the same, maybe not in the same breath, but is up there is Hitchcock.
Yeah.
If you look at the amount of iconic moments he was able to create, using again camera trickery, essentially.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't even in the same level as Kubrick where it was technical stuff, but it was just camera trickery. He had to find a way to make that thing happen, so he did it physically. And the net result for me is that the viewer is more captivated by that because it seems tangible, it seems real. The minute you're in an environment which is a fantasy environment, for example, or something that is full of CGI, knowingly or not, and more likely subconsciously, you're not really connected to that at all. You know that what you're seeing isn't real. It's like being on a ride. It's like you're fine, you're okay, but it's the reality, it's the physical, tangible aspect, and seeing people interact with that makes a film really powerful, in my opinion.
Coen Brothers as well, man.
Coen Brothers, incredible, man. I love directors that where their films have like a look to them. Do you know, like
a soundtrack,
like Michael
well.
Mann? Michael Mann's films have a look, and again, it's just I just like that kind of that calling card. It's almost like you put it on the big screen, you know who's directed it straight away just by one shot.
Definitely. There was a film we were watching the other night, and I never knew it was a Coen Brothers film until there was a point in it, and I realised I forget what
Born
it was.
After
One
Reading,
that's got
mate.
George Clooney.
Burn After Reading.
Aye, that was it. Aye.
Great movie.
That was it. Aye.
Watched that recently.
But aye.
I
I like films with soundtracks that are songs, pre-existing songs. I quite like.
Yeah.
I mean, soundtracks obviously are good as well, but I like films that have just got songs that you kind of recognise and know, just putting at the right places. I think that's
because that injects energy. Well. That injects like a relatability to people.
Definitely. Aye.
You can just put yourself right in the scene when that song starts playing.
This is a wee bonus, and I might include this. Neil, do you want to? What's the name of the film that you're working on, and when can folks see it? Do you know?
Bank Holiday Monday. I think that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Bank Holiday Monday, aye. No, it was just called Holiday Monday. That's right, Holiday Monday. It's like it's sort of like a tip your hat to the 80s action kind of, I don't know, movie sitcom. Think RoboCop, except trying to be, I don't know, commercial. It's a bit weird, to be honest. I watching it through, it's kind of got it was only meant to be a short, but then it got extended to become a feature, so they had to sort of flush out the half an hour movie that they had to an hour and a half.
Heard of this. What is it, Neil?
It's a movie I had to help basically edit,
cool.
or do the sound production on it and the mixing and all that and the editing, but I ended up having to do everything. I just had to. They just kind of gave it to me. They said the guy that was doing it was kind of left us with all this, and pretty much had to do all the ADR again and do all the Foley and just put it all together.
Cool. Is that something you're still doing just now?
No, I finished it. It was it's now getting all punted about, and they're looking for funding for a second movie of it.
Cool.
So aye.
Would you rather have feet
What the
or
fuck?
a basketball?
What's that music?
It's my jingle.
For a house to call your own. The Samba game of would you rather?
Have you done this? I can't remember this being the last time when I was on it. See so.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay.
Good on you, man. That's fucking brilliant.
Thanks very much, mate. Thank you very much, Barry. Do you know what? Thanks very much.
Don't
mate.
start him, mate. He'll tell you in a minute him and Paul McCartney wrote that.
But nothing but abuse for that. So you and my dad love that. So that's two people. So thanks.
The theme tune to the Ugly Pulp Odyssey podcast was a thing that a video I recorded on my phone about 5 years ago. Just a wee daft idea, 20-second video.
It's got the Toy Story vibe about it.
Aye, definitely, aye.
And also that's kind of the reason why I've asked you to perform a tune. Because that reminds me of that song as well, aye. If you want to right, would you rather anyway? Would you rather be a tribute in Hunger Games or explore the maze in Blade Runner?
In Maze Runner?
Hunger Games?
What is a tribute in Hunger Games, Merv?
Is that one of the runners?
Tribute and Hunger Games is like...
Aye.
Are you talking about Maze Runner?
Everybody...
Not Blade Runner, Maze Runner.
Is it Maze Runner?
I've never seen the Maze
There's
Runner.
one called Maze Runner.
I've never seen that either. I was hoping somebody was going to...
I think I watched it in a plane once coming back from the States, I'm sure, and it's pretty much the same as the Hunger Games, apart from
Is it?
Except it
As-
takes place in a maze, aye.
Aye, exactly.
Aye,
Right,
so
so-
Hunger Games or Maze Runner.
Or would you want to change it to? Do you want to
So-
be a tribute in Hunger Games, or rather a Blade Runner and Blade Runner?
Oh man.
Explore the maze in Maze Runner. Is
Well,
it not?
I think because they're I think the concept here is that because Maze Runner and Hunger Games are
The same
similar
fucking thing,
concepts, I think that was the point, wasn't it? Aye.
Is it the same idea?
Aye, they
Um,
are. I like the films.
Alright, I've never seen the Maze Runner.
I do like Hunger Games. I've never seen Maze Runner.
Maze
Blade
Runner's good
Runner,
as well,
whatever
I
it
think, man. It's very childish, but it's good.
Is that the one with Warren's Llewellyn Bowen in it? Is a lead character?
Is Maze Runner about like a maze farmer that runs around and collects lots of maze and brings it back to the death,
well,
with the fight to the death?
Aye.
maze is just what Americans call fucking corn, in it. Is it? I don't know if it's
Aye.
American or
Aye.
it's just a regional term, isn't it?
think so.
I think so.
I thought corn was corn in America.
No,
I
well, you'd think that,
it's
wouldn't you?
Is maize not an ingredient in it or something? I don't
No,
know.
I think maize is just it's a certain part of the world where they call it that. I think it's the same as like plantain and banana. Plantain's just what
Aye.
like fucking Caribbean people call a banana.
Maize, also known as corn, is a cereal grain first domesticated by indigenous peoples in southern Mexico about 10,000 years ago.
There you go. Corn plant. Yeah, it's the same thing that shut up. Yeah, it's just
There you
yeah.
go. See, Mexican corn.
I don't know what the question is anymore.
Would you rather be a tribute in the Hunger Games or a maze in the Maze Runner? No,
I'd rather be a maze.
Or,
I'd rather be a
try to
maze.
find your way out of the maze in Maze Runner.
I would think I would go with Hunger Games. I quite like the movies. I'm going to go with them, and you get special guns and all that, don't you? So
Aye.
I can transport myself back to my 13-year-old self running about the woods with a branch off a tree.
I think it's a crossbow.
Aye. I love Dead Days. They were simpler times.
Of course they were, mate. Do you know what? I've been out running quite a lot recently, right? And do you know, I went up. Now, especially when you're running about places where you grew up and that, right? I was up at my ma's and I goes, I'll go out a wee run here, and obviously all the places that you used to play as a Wayne. So you're talking about a 3-mile radius where the whole thing was your playground. And I remember running past this wee bit where I went through a field a bit to get back onto the main road. And there was this one wee bush, and I thought, do you know what that should be? And if it isn't, I'm going to be fucking gutted. A den.
Aye.
Now that kind of way when you were wee, like if there was any kind of wee bush that you could get into, it was a den,
Aye.
right?
making it
And you'd
again.
actually make it a den. You'd get in and you'd fucking cut all the branches, you'd make it a wee den, and you could kind of get in, but I actually stopped, of course, to investigate whether it was or not a den. It wasn't, which was really, really gutting. And I just thought, what the fuck are Wayne's up to these days, man, if they're not making dens?
Can you
Nah, they
walk
won't
past
be making
a
dens.
tree swing? Can you walk past one without going on it?
Nowadays,
Now,
I can, because if I tried to fucking swing, I'd probably kill myself.
I broke my arm
Oh,
when I was 6 on a Tarzan swing.
you?
Yeah,
It's amazing how fearless you were as a Wayne, though, isn't it?
Oh, aye.
aye.
Oh, aye.
Now I look at stuff like that and I go, knowing my luck, I'd fall off of that and paralyse myself. End up paraplegic, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'd take Hunger Games as well, mainly because out of the two, that's the one you get the most control into it. Like the maze is a society which is constantly shifting, and the thing changes all the time to make it difficult. Whereas with the Hunger Games, you just need to kill the other cunt. So, as difficult as that may be, I will take the binary nature of that over the challenges of the maze.
Complications of the maze.
Yep.
What about you, Neil?
Well, if I got a chance to meet that chick, then I would totally do the Hunger Games. So it's probably that one.
Oh, right, aye, okay. I'd like to shoot her with my big arrow. Danny Fidget Street, he thinks he's a gangster.
Scottish Hunger Games.
Scottish
That'd be
Hunger
terrifying.
Games? The hell?
running up down Sucky Hall Street. 3 o'clock
That's
in the
fucking
morning.
may as well be the Hunger Games.
You need to keep a kebab fucking above your head. I mean, that should be like a game. We should do like a TV show, Fear Factor, like a new Fear Factor. Just things like that.
Let's drop them in
I was
Glasgow.
actually watching. Do you watch The Cube?
Oh, fuck's sake. Aye.
The
Do you
Pube?
watch The Cube? No,
Yeah.
The Cube.
Alright.
The movie The Cube.
With the TV show where Phil Schofield gets people into do random games like blindfold yourself and carry this ball on a table over like this hurdle, and you win $2,000 and then it moves all up. I think you could do it really fucking. I was saying to Marianne, this would be so much better if it was like on a Sky Channel 942, and it was like, right, if you get into the club and shave this junkie's balls with this fucking razor, you can win like $2,000. I mean, I think that would be amazing. I would tune into that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Dodge the sick on the pavement. You've got to run, but you need to jump out of the puddles of sick on fucking Sucky Hall Street.
It's that programme's mental, but it was on all week, and you could win £1 million. Nobody won it, I don't think. There was a guy with one leg in it.
What's that?
In the Cube, but you have not seen
Nah,
it, so
it's
there's no
no
point
point,
even
aye.
talking about it.
I've seen the adverts, and basically it's like a task where you need to like catch stuff or whatever.
Crazy
and
task,
you need to throw
Mel,
stuff into a box or something.
Aye.
It's dead difficult. And
It could be like a wall's in front of you and you get a box and there's like a bin at the other side of the wall and you have to throw it out of the wall and get it in the bin. You only get 9 lives. It's quite good, but I think they should do it like
I wonder
that
if the
style,
inspiration
like
for
I
that
said.
came for the last part of the Crystal Maze. You know, when they're all in the.
I think it was, aye.
In the glass.
see that bit of that. I mean, surely that's just doomed to never. You're never going to win that Crystal Maze. How can you see what colour's silver and what colour's gold? It just looks like a
You
fucking.
just need to grab whatever.
Exactly.
Just a big.
Studio lights on
know.
these shiny things.
Aye.
Exactly.
Aye.
It's a bit of a con. And how they had no chance. Those poor
No.
people. No
Definitely.
chance.
Well, it was the same as, remember that one, Fort Boyard?
Aye.
Remember the end of that where they,
That was like
where they just
Channel
like
5.
dumped all the money, and they had to just grab it off or the tigers killed them.
Fucking
Which,
hell.
right, but obviously, I mean, that was one of the things about that show that was just so mental that I was just like, how come? Wouldn't it be amazing if you just watched that one time and the tigers did actually just maul somebody? That'd be amazing.
Takeshi's Castle, that's where it's at. I think Takeshi's
Oh,
Castle is how they
Takeshi's.
should choose every
Aye, that's
president
good, Neil.
ever.
Aye.
Oh, I love Takeshi's Castle, man. That was my favourite. They've kind of stole that for the mainstream ITV. Kamara and that Ben guys, they do like Ninja Warrior. It's
Oh,
almost
Aye.
like
Aye.
Takeshi's Takeshi's
It used to be Craig Charles, I think, that done
Yeah, the narration, aye.
It
commentary
was.
for that.
It was. Keane loved that when he was away and watched that all the time on the Sky. It was fucking brilliant. I loved that.
Question number 2. Would you rather win an Oscar or a Grammy?
Oscar all day long. Every cunt's got a Grammy. Every fucking cunt in their dog's got a Grammy. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Jacob Collier's got about 5.
Ah, fucking Jacob.
Do you not like Jacob Collier?
I mean, I
He's
like
so
him
talented,
as
man.
a person, and as a musician, yes, but I find his music absolutely obnoxious and pointless.
I don't know if I'd listen to his stuff, but I think when you see a video on that and he's put
Well,
all
the guy's a
bits
phenom, aye.
together
Aye.
separately, he's
It's not.
talented,
It's not
you know.
accessible.
Of course, that's
music in the
amazing.
slightest, aye.
But it's a wee bit like watching fucking Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman play poker. Where's the enjoyment in a guy that's got the game rigged?
Aye, he's completed it. He's completed music.
Aye,
He's
that's
completed
true,
music. You know what I mean? Like, where's the fucking enjoyment in watching a guy conjure every possible sound at once?
5 Grammys is a lot, and that, you're right. Maybe that does mean it's a wee bit not what it used to be.
I mean, I'm looking forward to maybe someone like him in 50 years' time or 40 years' time when he's a bit older, maybe sitting at a piano and maybe play. I don't necessarily mean slowing down, but just doing something that's a wee bit more focused. Because, and by the way, this isn't actually me knocking him. I just feel as if he's maybe
Show off music,
typical
innit?
of a lot of the things that win Grammys these days, which is that these outlandish displays of talent, and of course they should be recognised. But the Grammys such a wide ranging thing, though. Like they've got Grammys for everything now, literally everything.
Aye.
they do the pre-show. There's like something like 200 awards given out before the main show even starts.
I think that
It's like a Grammy doesn't mean anything anymore.
the guys that do the Macarena, not get like best international song performed by politicians or some shit like that. It was something mental.
There's all this mental stuff. It's like there's literally hundreds of categories in it, and it's just like, what does it even mean? Do you know what I mean? And then you get folk just brandishing their Grammys all the time as if, I'm not saying it's, listen, I sound really bitter here, but
Get your Grammy out.
I just don't feel as if it's that. Whereas, an Oscar, if you get best soundtrack, you get best soundtrack. End of story. That's what it means. Do you know what I mean? Like you've really achieved something there.
Aye.
To me, it's a case of which one weighs more and which one is more precious metal. So,
well, you never know. The
what
Grammy
one
might
can
be
it
gold
make?
plated. If they need to give out that many of them, then I would imagine it probably would be.
Aye.
the Oscar will be pure solid.
That'll be
gold,
solid
won't it?
gold, but the Grammy, because you're talking, they give out hundreds of them, so I'd imagine it's probably a gold plate.
Much do you think an Oscar's worth?
Priceless.
Melted down.
Somebody go on eBay then. I bet you there's one.
$4.99 out of A1 trophies.
Do you talk about one,
That's in his
an
den.
official one?
An official, aye.
I wonder how many have been given out.
The statue itself is only worth $1. Why Oscar statues are only worth $1?
Oh, I see that. That's
Does anybody know who's won the most Oscars?
Oh,
For
Walt Disney, innit?
bonus point.
for an actor,
Aye,
Mer, for
it
the
is,
movie?
No, it's Walt
Aye.
Disney, innit?
Walt Disney,
Is he?
aye.
Aye.
So
22.
basically, a Nazi.
we've been here before, haven't we?
A Nazi has won the most Oscars. Aye, the statue itself's only worth
That's what it
$1.
says, yeah.
What? That can't be right.
That's what they're saying, aye.
No, but they're saying that each statue is plated with 24 karat gold. So how can it be worth $1?
I don't know. That's
It takes It costs $400 to produce.
Merv, that seems like one of these mad rules that Charlie Chaplin made up or something.
Aye, the official regulations state that winners cannot sell their Oscar without first offering to sell it back to the Academy for $1. So that's the rules. You're not allowed to sell it.
Aye,
before
well
you
that
say-
makes sense, because then if the Academy gets it, they can sell it saying that this person won it
Yeah.
and make a profit on it.
Auctions, 80 grand. One went for. I
Alright.
can see
Aye.
here.
Merv, see when this popped into my head, was it you that told me when I was younger about
Probably.
Charlie Chaplin? If you're able to blow like there's something like 8 smoke rings down a pool cue, you inherit his entire estate or something like that. Did you tell me that?
I don't know if I told you that. Nah, it doesn't know ring a bell.
I'm sure
I'm
he
sure
told
you
me
wouldn't
that.
forget
I was
that one,
definitely Menorca and somebody tell me and I'm sure it was you.
Well, there's loads of fucking proposition style things like that are actually
I don't
impossible,
know
aren't
if I
there?
told you that.
If you're able to blow, it might be 6 smoke rings perfectly down the pool cue, you inherit all of Charlie Chaplin's estate.
Fuck away to fuck.
I don't know. That sounds like one of the laws that you get.
Yeah,
so
the thing is, see, regardless of whether that's true or not, I'm taking that and I'm saying that to somebody soon, because that's right up my street.
Just tell them
Just
it
to
as
drop
fact,
into
mate, it's
conversation with
fact.
somebody just to fuck them up.
It's fact.
There's a reason why it hasn't happened, obviously.
It's impossible.
Of course, aye.
Merv, you what you say, it sounds like if you can shoot a Scotsman at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday in York or something like that.
Aye, that's what I was going to say. Aye, it's
An
kind
arrow
of
on a
like
Sunday
that,
or something.
No, I definitely take the Oscar. No, don't
Oscar,
you guys.
what about anybody else?
Yeah.
Aye, Oscar
for me.
aye.
I'd love to be a director.
Well, there's even the reference in The Simpsons, isn't there? That Homer's one of the episode where he's in the hotel with the country singer and they've won the Grammys and that kind of stuff, and he throws all the stuff out the window, and it's like and the wee caretaker guy's like, oh, these are Grammys or something like that, and he's pure disappointed. Like, it's just Grammys have been nothing for ages, you know.
Is that maybe the B-sharps?
I don't mean that sounds really terrible, but it's just like they don't have the same. They don't have the that one. Sorry, it's the B Sharps episode. They don't have the same impact.
What would you rather get, a Grammy or an Oscar, Neil?
Yes, Oscar, definitely.
Oscar?
After Barry's slated
I
them
know,
to
I
fuck.
can't really say.
Nobody wants a stinking Grammy.
Shove your stinking
We
Grammy
don't
in
need
the
no
house.
stinking Grammys.
A Grammy that just says on it, "Congratulations, you've completed music. Well done, mate."
It's like a certificate. It might as well just be the same thing.
Aye.
Is there a Grammy for best wedding band? There must be.
Most
Sure,
folks
wouldn't
would
there?
take their higher maths out of a fucking origami.
Higher maths is hard as fuck.
I know, I never got it, so I'll take a higher maths origami. Give me that.
Would you rather have a sequel or a prequel? What does that mean, Merv?
I don't know. I think it's just a question that you could take and run with it.
The way things are going now, it would have to be a fucking sequel, wouldn't it? Because it's pretty shit right now. If you want to tell the story of what it's like afterwards, that could go one of two. That could be one of two ways, either dystopian or utopian.
The prequel's the glory days on it. It's all fucked.
Exactly. Aye.
I would not be a sequel or a prequel because I'm Buddhist and I live in the now.
But Buddhists believe in the afterlife, though.
Do they?
The reincarnation.
Reincarnation,
I
could buy into
and
that.
sequels.
I could buy into that, actually. Aye. So I would be a
I forgot you were a Buddhist,
your
actually.
next life, aye.
I forgot you were a Buddhist, mate. You always...
How could you forget such a thing? I wear my robe every day.
You do look like one of the monks, aye.
My next life would be really good because I already know that mine's is Jennifer Lopez's bike seat, so
Well, that's your
mine
Nirvana.
would be a pretty good film, you know what I mean?
Alright, fucking hell. That's a really strange question. I feel like there's words missing out of it. Would you not rather, what do you prefer, sequels to prequels, or no?
See the question, Spanks. You can just you can take it any way you like it. You don't
I
need
like
to.
that.
It doesn't need to be.
You don't need to conform.
You don't need to. It's not like
He can't do this. It's
not like it. There's no right or wrong answer.
So this is the suitcase of gold for Pulp Fiction. Aye, it's whatever you fucking whatever you want it to be.
I bet you Spanko talks about this for the next 3 minutes and then says both.
Yeah, I was. That's what you just done. And kidded on you were Buddhist. I'm right in the middle, actually. I'm not making this decision. Would you rather a sequel or a prequel? Well, if it's based in Star Wars, probably a sequel, because they're better than the prequels.
Oh yeah, obviously. Even I know that, and I've not seen them.
Although Murphy, you don't mind the prequels, do you?
I kind of don't mind all the Star Wars. I need to say. I mean, I don't mind it. I just take it for what it is. The best film ever. Aye, I'll go sequel as well for no good reason.
Yeah. There's, I don't know, the way things are going now. Fucking a prequel in terms of like my childhood and formative years would probably be more fucking entertaining than what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Oh fuck! Aye.
Jumping about, like we were just talking about, jumping about out in the woods and all that, and climbing trees and being mental. Brilliant.
Playing sojies.
My gran used to watch, like, I remember her saying, or my gran Coffee would used to watch programs that were based in the 20s and 30s, like when she was a kid and a teenager. Just like, oh, it's just great. It just reminds me of what it was like before the war. So maybe so our prequel is before the fucking COVID, because this is the war for us, isn't it? So, so maybe a prequel in that sense. If you're talking about
but I mean,
life.
Let's be honest though, we're all not too dissimilar in terms of age, like generationally speaking. So when you frame it that way, I think we're all maybe around about the last of the generation who actually grew up outside and who, do you know what I mean? Who'd like sort of
definitely
formed these kind of stories and these memories that were actually based in outside, rambling about, exploring. I think we're probably the last of that generation. Because I mean, I'm up at my mother's looking after my niece and nephew, and when I take them out for a walk and that kind of stuff, I'm up and I'm just amazed at like how little there is really happening. I know obviously through the week and all that, but I just think there's no much happening in terms of kids don't go out, they don't play football in the street anymore, they don't run about playing hunts, they don't play hide and seek, they don't. It's just all gone now. They're captivated by devices before they even form the ability to run about outside. So what chance you got?
I think that's part of it as well, because when we were younger, you never really had any options.
It was boring. It was boring otherwise. The most exciting thing was to go outside.
It was either you're out or you're playing like Subutio.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
In fact, it was torture to be inside.
Fuck's sake, man! But you grew up in the Victorian times.
But compare that to PlayStations and whatever technology that exists now. You don't need to go outside.
Aye, but look, I think, does it not also speak volumes about the way that technology works now, where, like, you know, when I was like, when did the first PlayStation come out, like 97, 98 or something like that? So I got that, but and as loads of other people did, but it wasn't like so captivating that it stopped me from going out and playing football with my pals.
True, that's true.
Like it never. I would rather go out and play hunts or build a den or whatever than play whatever game was on that thing. When we did it, it was great. It was a novel. It was fantastic. But I think the difference now is that you basically have a replacement for reality within these consoles now, where it's like it's just so realistic that for kids they may as well just be living in real life when they play these games.
I think you're right.
And that's bollocks. That destroys their imagination. It destroys their urge to explore. It destroys their
destroys their skill base, because
exactly.
I mean, fucking Grand Theft Auto you win, but you'll never be able to hotwire a motor. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you learn a lot about that in Kirlook, don't you? you had a very thorough education about that kind of stuff.
Definitely, aye. Well, this was pre-COVID Kirlook we're talking about here. Never mind your fucking Hunger Games, man. You know what I mean?
A quick question that's in the form of a fact, the thing that Merv Kenny used to do. How many times has Tom Hanks played a captain? What's the answer?
17.
No.
42.
Hold on, let me think.
I feel as if I'm in the cube. 12.
6.
I think you're right, Barry.
I'll say.
Oh shit!
No, I'm not saying anything.
6.
6. I'll say.
Oh,
6,
well done, Merv. You're bang on the money.
6.
Neil, Eddie, you want to take a guess?
6.
6. Oh, holy
6.
shit, you got it right as well, sorry. Well, it's inconclusive. I was having this conversation the other night, and I was like, we think it's about 6. But then I googled an article and it said 5, and I was like, no, they've missed one. So you've got Saving Private Ryan, a brand new one that he's doing a trailer for now. Literally his first line in it was, "Hi, I'm Captain Whatever." Greyhound, which is the one that's out in Apple TV now, he's Captain Whatever. Sully, he's captain of that plane. Captain Phillips, obviously, which a movie I love. And apparently in the Green Mile, he's
an ex-captain or something like that.
What does it say? Paul Edgecombe, who is the captain of the guards in the Green Mile. So technically,
okay.
And Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan calls him Captain Forrest Gump at one point as well.
Oh,
so
well,
I think
that's not official, is it?
Yeah, well, maybe clutching at straws there.
He was also captain of St Mirren at the weekend. So add that one in.
Oh, shit.
Right, okay. Robert De Niro, banger or Saint? Neil?
Saint. I don't think I know he's kind of quiet and he's grumpy all the time, apparently.
Got any reasons? Have you got any reasons?
No, just everything I've seen him in, I quite enjoyed him in. I think.
That was my Robert De Niro.
Aye.
You got any reasons?
That famous quote. Have you got any reasons?
Give me one of his quotes then.
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Aye.
That's not him, as it says it, is it?
Aye.
Are you
Taxi
talking
driver.
to me? Are you talking to me? Spanko Robert De Niro.
Saint, massively. Also, I've seen a thing where it was the actors. There's a thing on YouTube called the Actors Roundtable thing, and he was basically saying we need to get Trump to fuck straight away. Nobody was even talking about it. He's like, you need to get this fucking cunt out of here because this is the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to the country, meaning America, obviously. So he's a saint for me, even for that as well. Apart from being one of the greatest actors ever, but yeah, saint definitely.
Merv?
I also Saint as well. I think he's in a lot of good films. Actually, that thing you were just speaking about, I've seen that as well. Which I don't know how I feel about it, because I do like the sentiment of somebody trying to speak up against Trump and that, but I don't know how I feel about it with somebody try to do it in a sort of Hollywood style of making it as if they're like, I don't know. I think there's better ways to put those arguments across, but I don't really like his Kia advert either.
It makes me
it's
feel
awful,
sick, man.
isn't it?
I hit the
forgot
book when
about
I see that.
What the fuck is he doing? He can't be short.
He's been a sellout for a while though, let's be honest.
Fuck's sake.
There's a film I've seen recently as well, I don't know the name of it, I'm
He's
just
been
trying
a
to look
sellout
it up,
for a
but it's
while,
basically He's a dad, I think, or he's an uncle, and he's got a young
The Fockers.
guy. Well, nah, that's a good film, obviously, I think. But he's like somebody's uncle, and it's a young guy.
Oh,
it's
fuck
like
me, that's terrible.
the young guy.
Yeah,
and him,
I know what you're on about.
It's fucking
That's one of the worst films
horrendous.
I've ever
It's
seen.
such
That's
a
a
bad
sellout
film,
movie,
aye.
aye.
It's so bad, and I don't even think it's done in a way that's like meant to be bad. It's just fucking gash. It's just the pattern. It's terrible, but
I'm
I'll need
gonna
to find
find
the
it for
name,
you
so
now, mate.
I'll come back to it.
I think I know the one you're
Dirty
on about.
Grandpa, it's
Aye.
called. Dirty Grandpa.
Aye, that's the one.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, is that not with Zac
Zac
Efron?
Efron's fucking shite.
Jesus Christ.
Pish. Barry, Robert De Niro, you're talking to
You're
me.
talking to me? I can only say Saint, and that's me swerving the fact that he's been an utter sellout for the past fucking basically 10 years.
It's forgivable though, isn't it?
It is forgivable because he's such a... I mean, I'm one of the few people that says that even The Godfather 3, I like that film. I think he's phenomenal. He's got a presence. He makes films better. Maybe not recently. It's kind of just... It's like tragic when you see him in recent films where he's just trying to lend his name and selling out as he does it. But no, definitely Saint. Been in some great shit.
Yep, I'll go with that as well, mate. Definitely Saint for me. Spanko, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, Saint, definitely. Aye. Oh, especially when you're a kid, those movies. You kind of. That's kind of after your Disney phase or whatever for me.
That's who could play you in a movie.
What?
E.T.
Spanko, phone home, phone corner stay, phone corner stay. Spielberg guy, definitely a Saint, man.
Elliot.
Saint, I mean, he's one of the biggest household name directors there is. Not everything he's done's been amazing, but
I've never heard them.
you never heard of him, aye.
Never heard them.
I wish he'd done it.
Aye, nah, nothing you would have heard of, nah. Probably not, he's quite underground.
He's an independent filmmaker, isn't he? Very, very, like you say, underground.
Niche.
Niche.
I'm trying to think of any films that I don't like that he's done. A lot of his recent films have just been a bit meh. But I'm just looking at an IMDb now. But aye, so it's obviously a legend, isn't he?
Is he the one behind the new Jurassic Park? Like they're doing the whole
No.
going back to classic Jurassic Park
No.
with all the original actors and that?
What? Are they?
Yeah, it's coming out in like 2 years. Right? It's like Jeff Goldblum, the whole
Aye.
like
A
all
TV
of
series?
them. No, the movie. I think it's called Jurassic Park Extinct. No, Dominion. Jurassic Park Dominion.
You used to have it, Spence,
Aye,
didn't you?
that was
Your
my
favourite
film when I was a kid, Jurassic Park.
But yeah, so all the original characters come back. Sam Neill, that chick,
Oh, aye,
Uh,
2022, I'm
the
looking
old
at this now.
guy with the white hair, and all that. Everybody.
Am I right in saying, is it Jeff Goldblum's in that?
Yes.
as well?
Aye.
Is that who you said there,
Aye.
Neil? Aye, Goldblum. Is that the guy that's in the... Is he the English
No,
guy?
he's American.
With the dark hair? He's in the adverts.
No, Jeff Goldblum's
Am I
American,
the
man.
right person here?
Very
Aye, it's
American.
not him
He's
now.
he's a jazz
Aye.
pianist as well. Jeff Goldblum.
Of course,
I'm
yes.
thinking a different guy then.
I love Jeff Goldblum, but I really love him because he's so fucking weird and quirky.
Who played The Fly? Who
That was
played
him,
The
aye.
Fly?
Aye.
Is that him
Yeah.
then?
He's no
Aye, right,
English,
okay.
mate. He's no
Okay.
English.
There's something really creepy and weird about him, though.
He is weird. Aye, he is weird. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but at
oh,
the same
definitely,
time, really
man. He makes me
entertaining.
feel uncomfortable too. Aye.
Yeah, he's too
The
confident.
Fly's a great movie.
Yeah.
He's too confident.
I like him.
He's too confident in his flamboyant ways, so it makes me uncomfortable.
Flamboyant, is that what you're calling it?
He's definitely
I don't know what that
flamboyant.
means.
Nowadays.
He's definitely flamboyant.
Mhm.
Very
Definitely.
flamboyant.
What about you, Merv? Spielberg.
Aye. Saint, don't really have anything to add. Good films. Saint, 100%.
Neil, did you answer that, mate?
Agreed. I'm the same. Absolutely.
What about you, Baz?
Steven Spielberg. Saint.
The problem is the other option is banger.
Well, exactly. That's very aye. It's pretty simple, isn't it? But no, as somebody who's grown up in the 90s, I mean, I don't think there's many 90s kids who would say anything other than that, because it's like...
Yeah.
But I say 90s, I mean, anybody at all who's been around while he's been making films, he's made such, like, sort of generation-defining films. that you'll think fondly of something that he's made. And for me, it was definitely E.T. You know,
Banco was brilliant in that one.
Aye.
It's John Williams'
Phenomenal in that.
fucking score of that, mate. It makes the whole fucking thing for me. The score's amazing.
Aye. It's big, man. But he's done some great shit, man. Jaws, for fuck's sake. Jeez,
That was my favourite film for a long time.
Aye. Nah, definitely Saint, man. Big time movie maker who just gets it right. Do you know what I mean? Fucking Schindler's List.
Oh, aye.
Do you know what I mean? He showed a bit of versatility there, and I don't mean that just in a flippant kind of way. It's like that's genuinely a totally incredible movie.
Munich's a good film as well. I think it's underrated. I love that film.
What one's that, sorry?
Munich.
I've not seen that.
Ah, it's good, man. It's quite underrated, I would say.
I need to check that
It's
out.
about the
the
Olympic
Israeli
Games.
the Munich Games. What were they called again? Something September? Black, red. What were they called?
The Black September.
Black
so it's about
September,
the aftermath of that, and there's like a
Yeah.
group of Israeli secret agents
Aye.
go and kill all the guys that started it.
Yep.
Planned the thing. So it's a good
Check
film.
that out, man.
It's a good film. Aye.
Right. Nice one.
Definitely.
Marilyn Monroe. I heard recently that she pumped all the Kennedys.
Oh, she definitely did, man. She was a fucking.
So Bobby and John F. Kennedy, and that was part of how they think there's a conspiracy that she get murdered. I'll go Saint for Marilyn Monroe. It's Banco.
I wouldn't call her a banger, no. So based on that, I don't really know much about her. I think she's quite a tragic life, is she not, in like Club 27 and that?
I think so.
It's definitely a saint. Aye, this is.
Was she 27 as well?
Maybe.
Maybe you're not.
She was 36. But sorry.
36. That's miles out. That's miles.
She had a
out.
good innings.
She did. Some bit of gear.
Aye, she's stunning.
Neil,
aye.
what about Marilyn for you?
Well,
She float your boat.
well, from what you were saying, she was a banger. But I think I'll go Saint. She's a good looking lassie, like. Although I don't know what she looked like maybe without her makeup. I'm not sure.
Aye, it's just the makeup.
Merv.
I'll say Saint as well. I don't really know much either. She's quite I could be wrong, but I think she's quite inspirational to a lot of people. A lot of people quote her, don't they?
Aye.
Maybe I don't know if that's how inspirational she is, but I mean, she's certainly famous. One of the famous actress, famous
Aye.
person, very famous. So I Saint.
I don't really know much about her. Do you know, like, what was her name? What was her name again? Was it Norma Jean?
Oh, that
Is
is
that
a
her
real
real
name,
name?
isn't it? Aye.
Is that a real name?
I think she was a troubled soul, wasn't she?
Aye.
But like you say, get in with that crowd, and her sexual objectification very much led to her getting in with the dark side of society as well.
They say the mafia took her out.
Aye, well, same with JFK, wasn't it, really? I don't know. I mean, for because I don't really. She's been in some really famous films and stuff like that, and
Don't think I've ever seen a movie with her in it. I don't think I've ever watched one of her movies.
what was the famous one? Was it Some Like It Hot?
Aye, that's
I don't know. I'd have to say Saint for nothing more than.
She's dead.
No, I mean, no, she's iconic, isn't she? So
That's a full house of Saints.
Aye, it is a full house of saints.
Yes, it
It's
is.
the first time that's
really,
ever happened.
wow. You need to start picking more
Aye.
cunts.
I know. We'll start.
Boris Johnson banging or Saint. I wonder what the outcome will be.
I know, that's too predictable.
Adolf Hitler banging or Saint.
Are you going to sing as a song?
Aye.
I can see in my sheet here.
you want to do that tune, Barry? Have you,
Aye, all right.
aye.
But I mean, very
Nice
very
one.
specific request
Request.
that I had for you.
It was, aye, because it's fucking great. I don't know anybody else that bothered their arse to learn that. And the guitar and that's fucking brilliant as well, mate. So this is a song from The Simpsons.
Have we got
from a
Simpsons
very-
fans here? Are we Simpsons
I
fans?
fucking love The Simpsons.
I like the
Aye.
Simpsons,
From
man.
a- one of probably
Okay.
after I went back and watched it, Barry, and it's fucking. It's what must be one of the most quotable. It's a episode of The Simpsons ever. It's called Homer at Bat.
Aye.
It's
Aye.
basically a baseball one where Homer is playing baseball for his work.
Yep.
And then Mr. Burns puts on a bet that against another power plant owner for $1 million
That's
that
it, aye.
his power plant will win. And he decides to just get rid of the normal baseball team and just hire in like all the greatest players in America. It's fucking, and just Mr. Burns that must be one of the greatest comedy
It's so
comedy
good. I've got a
fucking
t-shirt.
lines
I've got
ever,
a t-shirt that's got a wee picture of Burns on it saying "Not once, not twice, but thrice." It's the what do you call the baseball? I don't know what it's called. Was it Major League Baseball, MLB? Is that what you call it? That sort of logo. But no, see that classic Simpsons. See everything prior to season 12. I would say everything prior to that is the most imperfect TV you could ever make.
Brilliant, man.
In every level.
Really good,
I mean, it's sad to look at the way it is now, but I think there's a reason why. I watched a thing a few years back and they voted The Simpsons as the greatest TV show of all time. Which now seems silly because of how shit it is, but back then you could totally understand it. To me, it's hard to beat. It had everything. It had ethics, it had values, it had that heartwarming family kind of guy story through Homer, but ultimately it was just really smart. And they lost all the writers, and things have just been going downhill ever since.
Is that what happened? I've not watched it for years. Any of the new stuff.
The
film's
awful,
quite good.
mate.
The film's alright.
It's awful. The film's okay, but they basically just try to keep up with whatever the trends are. Like in terms of whoever's flavour of the month, they'll get them on as a voice actor or a guest voice or something.
It'd be nice to see them taking more, maybe doing like a film a year.
That'd probably be better, aye.
Concentrating on that, and because the film was alright. I know what you're saying with the new ones. I tried to watch a couple because I'll get that.
They're so bad, honestly. It's just not The Simpsons at all. They're supposed to be sort of these small story arcs that have, a beginning, a middle, and end where things are kind of wrapped up. And a lot of times with the older episodes, you'd get to a point where there'd be a lot of silly stuff that happens, but in the end, Homer would kind of save the day, and he'd be back to being the sort of the family provider, so to speak, and the heart of the family. Whereas now it's just kind of, he's just portrayed as this idiot, basically, who's capable of the most stupid things, and they're just so, I don't know. He was always been like that, but he would always redeem himself, I suppose, is the difference I'm making. Now it's just like, he's just an idiot, and that's it, and it's just not very entertaining. Anyway, do you want to hear a song about
let's
softball?
go for it. So, to play us out, Barry
Here we go.
McAleenan.
1, 2, 3. Well, Mr. Burns had done it, the power plant had won it, with Roger Clemens clucking all the while. Mike Sozier's tragic illness made us smile, while Wade Boggs lay unconscious on the ballroom tile. We're talking softball, from Maine to San Diego, talking softball. Mattingly and Canseco, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw, Steve Sachs and his running with the law. We're talking Homer, Ozzy and the straw. We're talking softball, from Maine to San Diego, talking softball. And Mattingly and Canseco, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw, Steve Sachs and his running with the law. We're talking Homer, Ozzy and the straw. I do you?
That was brilliant, man.
Brilliant.
Class, mate.
There we go.
Cheers, Barry. Thanks for coming on.
thanks for that,
Thanks for coming on again.
What a pleasure, as always.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and thanks very much for Barry for coming on. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks very much for listening to the Carbon Copy COVID Curer podcast. We'll be back soon with another ill-informed, chat-filled episode. Why not tell us what you think by email, inquiry@carboncopymusic.band, or visit our website, carboncopymusic.band. And if you're feeling really generous and you haven't already, please give us a like on our Facebook, facebook.com/carboncopy4, and even our Instagram @carboncopyweddingband. Thanks. No bangers were hammered during the making of this podcast. Calvin got the server right more than anything they like. And they will. Thank you.